live stream lectures. And before I get into today's topic, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my YouTube channel. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture. So what about your federal student loan? What about your federal student loan? You know, this is a very important topic. That's a very important question. And but before I get into this lecture in terms of, so what about your federal student loan? You know, I want to share with the listener, August of 2023, the remaining balance of my federal student loan was forgiven. I met all of those requirements for the remaining balance of my federal student loan to be forgiven August of 2023. You know, in my remaining balance, once I met all the requirements in that program, my remaining balance was forgiven was $72,000+. You know, I returned back to school later in life to get my master's degree. So August of 2023, Mohela is the service provider for federal student loan. You know, when I did everything I needed to do in my due diligence, I got that powerful letter from Mohela, which is the federal student loan service provider. They alerted me to let me know that the remaining balance of my federal student loan was forgiven August of 2023 in the amount of $72,000+. So that what that meant was that was $72,000+ I did not have to repay. So I'm going to talk about, you know, some examples of the federal forgiveness program, the federal student loan forgiveness program. And one of those examples is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness, PSLF. It forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after 120 qualified monthly payments while working full-time for an eligible government or nonprofit employer. And that was one of the major criteria that you have to meet in that program. I fully retired September of 2023 from state government, state of North Carolina, which they were a qualified employer. Another layer of that, in terms of an example of the federal student loan forgiveness program, another layer to that could be the income-driven repayment plan. The IDR forgiveness available on IDR income-driven repayment plans, which cap monthly payments based on income and family size. And any remaining loan balance is forgiven after you've met those qualifying payments. So when I was in the loan forgiveness program, I also was enrolled in the income-driven repayment plan. And what that did was it literally capped my monthly payments based on my income and my family size. Another example of a federal student loan forgiveness program is the teacher loan forgiveness. It provides up to $17,500 in forgiveness or direct subsidized or unsubsidized loans for highly qualified teachers who work for 5 consecutive years in a low-income school. So that's another example of the loan forgiveness program. And another example of the loan forgiveness program is total and permanent disability discharge. Discharges federal student loans for borrowers who are unable to engage in any substantial gainful activity due to a physical or mental impairment. So that's total and permanent disability discharge. That's another way that a person can get the loan discharge. So bottom line, you know, student debt forgiveness would impact nearly every aspect of your life. You know, when I met all the requirements for the remaining balance of my federal student loan to be forgiven in the amount of $72,000+, August of 2023, That was a powerful accomplishment, because that allowed me to, first of all, not have to be paying on the student loan in retirement. And when that 72 plus $1,000 debt was wiped out, Mohela alerted Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, those three major credit bureaus. They alerted those three major credit bureaus to let them know that the remaining balance of that $72,000 was wiped out. So now when I look on my credit report, where I would historically would have seen balance, meaning I owe $72,000, now I see zero on Equifax, zero on Experian, and zero on TransUnion. This is real talk, people, because there are so many people of all ages, people who have recently graduated college, people in their 20s or 30s or 40s or 50, or even older, who have gone default on their school loan or behind on their school loan, getting their paycheck garnished and etc. They have damaged their credit because they have allowed that federal student loan to go into default, or they just deliberately stop paying on it, which can be a ripple effect financially in all areas of your life. So again, and there's no reason for that. The Federal Student Loan Forgiveness Program rule is still in existence. People are still meeting those requirements and getting the remaining balance of the federal student loan wiped out, meaning zero out. And I literally talk about, it's an area in my chapter when I wrote my book, or my book hit all major bookstores well over 3 years ago. But at the time that I wrote my manuscript to my book, Awake Financial Freedom, there's a particular chapter in my book where I talked about one of the best financial decisions in the world I made was when I enrolled in that federal student loan forgiveness program early on. And I met all those requirements year after year after year. And the outcome, the end result, when I met all of those requirements, the remaining balance of my federal student loan in the amount of $72 plus $1,000 was zeroed out. That was power, people. And that occurred August of 2023. And what that did is September of 2023, that's when I put in for my retirement paperwork with the state of North Carolina. I fully retired September 2023. I exited up out of this workforce forever with zero debt, people. With no school loan, no debt, no school loan, no credit cards, no mortgage, no car note, no personal loans, no medical bills, zero, people. But I really, really can see the positive impact on my financial life by entering full retirement without owing that $72 plus $1,000 on my student loan. So share this information. In terms of the federal student loans, there are so many examples of the federal student loan program. You got the public service loan forgiveness, which is the PSLF. You have the income driven repayment, which is the IDR, and you have the teacher loan forgiveness. Or number 4, you have the total and permanent disability discharge if you meet all those criteria in relation to your federal student loan. So that's all I have. Simplify, Simple Fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.